What if you owned your life? What if the government didn't own your life? What if social media didn't direct you? What if your day to day life was somewhat under your control? What would it look like? The reason why I say that is because at some point in time, you're going to have to take ownership of everything that you do, from your breathing, from the way that you look, what you say, who you hang around with, your outcomes that you can or cannot produce. At some point in time, you're going to have to take ownership of it all. Actually, the earlier, the better. Come to find out, you can control and own a great many things that you thought were out of control. And I've seen in the past more than 8 years of training, but my time in the teams, that if you gain control of every aspect of your life, you can control outcomes everywhere. And I'm really interested in the 5 areas of life. Your health is one outcome that you can really control, and maybe 80% of the population even attempt it. The second area is your ability to learn. That is thoroughly under your control. The third one is your ability to produce wealth, get paid for what you do something that you value, whatever that conversation is. Brothers and sisters, you can control that a great deal. Come to find out, you actually get paid for what you deliver. You get paid for what you deliver. If you don't make enough money, just so you know, that's the value that you're contributing to the world. If you're only getting $5 an hour, that's the value that you provide, and you can provide far more. If you get paid $6 million, that's the value that you add to the world. So the fourth area is your relationships, the measurable value of the relationships that you have. They're thoroughly in your control. And the fifth one is your spiritual connectivity, what ripples you can make during your life and after. And come to find out, you're in control of that too. So that may be an abstract discussion on St. Patty's Day. But I bring it up because I found out recently by doing a big investigation on my next book about my Irish lineage is that my great, 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 maybe six back in the mid 1800s, my first time the Irish in my family came over, they came over as two twin girls sold into indentured service, which was slavery. They came over to breed thoroughly. You could be disgusted by it or just realize it happens. They were sold into the slave trade to breed with the black men. And that's what they did for 7 years. So as you look at your life, the things that come from your life, whether you want to or not, you have a dramatic impact on a lot of people. And my grand whatever mother created me. And I've had a great impact on a great many people. So what would your day be like? The people that are in our training come face to face that they can control a great many things. The question is, what do you do? How do you do that? How do you begin to take ownership and control of the simple things in your life? And I'm going to show you or tell you, maybe even ask you to look at it. So if you've made it this far in the podcast, take a moment and get out a piece of paper, and I'm going to ask you a question. I'm interested in your answer. I'm interested in your feedback if you're willing to give it. What's the first thing you do right after you wake up in the morning? Come to find out, it's probably the most important time of your life. And out of over 4,000 people that have gone or attempted to complete our training, the reality is people jump over the most important time. The first 15 minutes after you wake up and before you go to bed are the most critical times in your life. What do you do? What do you do? Write down that answer and be honest with yourself. Are you the one that hits the alarm? Are you the one that complains internally that you don't want to get up? Do you roll over? Do you do anything intentional for the first 10 to 15 minutes? 80% of the people don't do anything. They go to work, they put on the clothes, they don't initiate anything internally, they just exist. So, what's the first physical thing you do for your body, for your health? Is it drink coffee? So, write down that answer. What's the first intentional thing that you do for your health on a day to day basis? And do you do it 7 days a week? Or are you like all the other sheep who work out 3 days a week because somebody told you to? So if you haven't done the first thing or the first physical thing, you probably have gone straight to work. What's the first thing you do at work? What's the first intentional goal driven thing that you do when you go to work? And write down your answer. If you're married, or even if you're not married, if you have kids or don't, if you're over the age of 18, what do you say to the people in your life on a day to day basis? And what do they say to you? Write down those two answers. The people that matter most in your life, what do they say to you? And what do you say to them? So if you can answer those questions, the first thing you do right when you wake up and before you go to bed, what's the first physical activities that you do and when? What's the first thing you do at work? And what do you say to the critical people in your life? And what do they say to you? Those answers tell the story of your life. If you learn how to overcome those simple things, you win. If you don't, you're just a sheep doing what you're told and complaining about that too. I don't believe in being a sheep. I think it's entirely up to the individual to do that. So be the greatest version of yourself. It's entirely up to you. So thank you all for your participation and for reaching out over the past months. We got a lot of stuff ahead of us this year. It doesn't matter what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. That's a distractor. So get some.